When you hear the word automation, it's easy to think of really simple, robotic tasks. But what if we completely redefined that? What if automation could be your personal intelligence analyst, doing all the heavy strategic lifting for you, even while you sleep? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Seriously, think about it. Picture that Sunday night feeling, or maybe the Monday morning scramble. You are just buried in last week's data, trying to piece together what actually happened so you can plan for the week ahead. It feels like you're in this constant race against the clock, right? And by the time you're done, you're already behind.
And that, right there, is the manual intelligence trap. By the time you finally spot a pattern in last week's meeting notes or call transcripts, the world has already moved on. You end up reacting to old problems instead of getting ahead of the curve and shaping next week's opportunities.
Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. The old idea of automation was super linear. If this happens, then do that. A pretty simple robotic task. But the new reality? It's way more dynamic. We're not talking about simple rules anymore. We're talking about complex actions like analyze this, compare it to that, and report on what you find. The kind of deep strategic work we always thought only a human could do.
And that really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about just sending an automatic email anymore. It's about having your own 24/7 intelligence analyst doing the deep thinking for you in the background. And that frees you up to do what we humans do best. Focus on the big picture, make those tough strategic calls, and actually lead.
So how in the world does this plain English setup actually work? Well, it's through something called conversational creation, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You literally just describe the task you want done, just like you'd tell a colleague, and boom, the system sets it up for you. No code, no complicated setup.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. These are not lines of code. They're just simple, natural commands. I mean, look at this one. Analyze every meeting transcript as soon as it's ready. That is an incredibly powerful, complex task, and it's all triggered by one simple sentence. This is what blows the doors wide open and makes this kind of strategic automation accessible to everyone, not just the engineers.
All right, first up, from briefings to breakthroughs. We're going to explore the whole spectrum of what this new kind of automation can do, from your basic check-ins all the way to those game-changing insights.
Now, the real power here comes from its flexibility. Sure, you have your standard scheduled automations, hourly, daily, weekly, for all the routine stuff. But the real game changer, it's this event trigger. This is what allows an automation to spring into action the very moment something important happens.
So let's put these two side by side. A routine briefing that runs every Monday at 9 a.m., that's useful, for sure. It gives you consistent reporting. But event-triggered intelligence, that is on a whole other level. The moment a sales call transcript is saved, the analysis begins. You're not just summarizing old news, you are spotting emerging patterns in real time. And that shifts the value from just, simple consistency to immediate, actionable insight.
Okay, next section, your strategic autopilot. Let's get practical and see how this all works in the real world with a really powerful example of an intelligence workflow that just runs itself.
Just imagine this for a second, a super sophisticated sales intelligence workflow that kicks off after every single call. Not at the end of the week, not even at the end of the day, but instantly. And the best part, it all happens completely in the background, without you lifting a finger.
So here's how it breaks down. First, an event happens. A new transcript gets saved. That instantly triggers the automation. Then comes the analysis, where it scans for specific things like customer objection patterns. But here's where the magic really happens, the comparison. It doesn't just find patterns, it compares them to historical data. Is this a new objection? Is this trend getting worse? And the final output isn't just a pile of data, it's tailored intelligence, like specific coaching notes for the sales team.
And the output is just pure intelligence. Look at this. It flags a brand new objection about pricing confusion, it spots a behavior change, reps are talking about a competitor way more often, it even generates a specific coaching tip to handle it. And it's not just about problems, it highlights the good stuff too, like what's working in successful calls. This is high-level, strategic work, and it's happening automatically.
So how many manual hours does it take to get this level of deep insight week after week, call after call? Zero. Zilch. This entire strategic feedback loop is just running on its own, constantly helping your team get better.
So that brings us to our last section. What will you automate? Because now that you've seen what's possible, the real question is, how could you use this? It's all about shifting your own focus from doing the analysis to taking action.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. If your most critical, time-consuming analysis just ran itself, what would you finally have the time to focus on? What are the bigger, more strategic problems that you could finally go out and solve? That, right there, is the real promise of this new era of automation.